Well, now it's time for France. Round number 5 of the Tier 2 season. It is Season 10 in RPL now in Tier 2. If you've just missed the action for the last couple of rounds, Round 5 of the season kicks off at France, a track that I'll call one of the background tracks. One of the tracks that got put to the reserve list on this game. A track that's no longer raced in real life at the current moment and is one of the DLC tracks. RPL races this track as round number 5 of the season. Bonjour and welcome here to France. A little recap on last week and the standings itself. Last week we had a very close battle, a very close race in Silverstone. The door was wide open for really anybody to take the race victory at this point with the way the race shaped up. A couple of safety cars, a lot of action, a lot of interesting battling. At Silverstone, you usually get that anyway. And in the battling, you tended to have some penalties being picked up, and that ultimately decided the race. Grandpa won the race on track. Behind him was Hunted. After that was JTK. And then Groggers, who did not have a penalty in P4 and won the Grand Prix. He's won in 50% of his last 6 races in Tier 2. Took the win for Ferrari. Ferrari's second win of the season, his first of the season, making it 3 different winners on the season. Also, Grandpa took a hat trick of podiums, making it the first driver to reach 3 podiums this season in Tier 2. In terms of Grandpa, he leads the standings by 30 points over Hunted. Behind that is JTK, 3 points back from Hunted, 33 points back from Grandpa. Then farther behind that is that person, Groggers, Florian, and Valkyrie, all making up the rest of the field. The constructor standings, Ferrari lead McLaren by 4 points at the top of the table. Talk about wide open. Well, there it is. That is literally the definition of wide open to me. A constructor's table that has a very, very close field. Ferrari had a McLaren by 4. Red Bull is 11 back. Mercedes is 24 back. Mercedes have not had the best races the last 2 weeks, but last season it was Red Bull who won the constructor's title. And you want to talk about wide open? Well, that is exactly that, wide open. Red Bull are not as dominant as they were last season, but now could they recover the gap, and can any team take it at this point from them? So if you're just joining us, I'm your commentator, Ryan Ocon31. It is good to have you all here. I am by myself today for the Grand Prix for commentary. And yeah, let's go over some breaking news and headlines and penalties since we are just starting our qualifying session here. PK, I don't know if PK is in here. PK is in here in the AlphaTauri. PK has a qualifying ban. So that means PK not allowed to qualify, but for some reason PK is on track. So that could likely be dealt with. Well, there you go. Callum is yet to show up. Cal has yet to show up the last couple of weeks, but whenever he does show up next, he will have a qualifying ban. Zakaria has been loaned to Alpine. As you can see, Zakaria a reserve here. Zakaria has not scored points since Monaco, so he's trying to turn that around, and I think he could do so at a race like today, France. A couple of those storylines. Jack Starr making his Tier 2 return. He is at McLaren for today's race. Remember, he got a podium in Texas last season in the USA. Florian, breaking news before this, contract dropped. Contract resolved, meaning Groggers is alongside that person for today's race in the Ferrari. And lastly, 3 new drivers in our lobby today. First, we have Lajovic in the Alfa Romeo for the Ferrari Academy. He is making his Tier 2 and RPL debut. Also in his seat is Chaz in Haas, a Ferrari Academy reserve. New driver making his debut. I've commentated with these 2 racing before. It's very nice to do so again with them too. And someone who I have not commentated on yet, Alex Baer in the Alfa Romeo, a new driver as well. A full-time Alfa contract for him and Lajovic. Sam Steed and Lando Norris dropped out of their contracts that they had at Alfa Romeo. They raced tons of races last season, but had a contract for season 10 in terms of full-time, never went forward with it and actually went out on track. And Sam dropped his, Lando later dropped his as well. So they're both reserves. Invade, welcome to the chat. Good evening. Good evening. Good to have you all join us. So we're underway for France qualifying. Circuit that really is so enjoyable more on the game rather than in real life. I really enjoy this circuit. You know, the French Grand Prix, it really has made up different circuits, but has a big history. 15 turns around the circuit. Gecko, the first one to set a lap. Let's watch Chaz in his Sector 3. Driver who joins us for the first time in RPL, along with Logivic, along with Alex Bear. Let's see how that all turns up for them. Chaz going through the sector split. Looked okay. I can't really tell where this is going to compare to the others, but sweeping section here at Sector 3. Far to the inside, a little bit of wiggle in terms of traction right there. And then you go to the far left. Many lines you could take right here to get the exit speed you want to take out of here. None of these drivers have done a France race on F123 yet, at least in terms of RPL. And then coming to the final two corners, again, another sweeping section. You can take it various different ways, shifting through the gears, different gears you choose to go through. Battery completely drained here as you come to the start-finish line. Chaz is going to go 9th fastest out of our drivers. So debut lap from Chaz sets himself up in the top 10 on the board. PK also has a lap in, but realistically shouldn't have a lap in after a qualifying ban that he is supposed to serve this week. Didn't serve it correctly last week, and again, didn't serve it correctly this week. So PK facing severe punishments.